They took me to court over access to land that's legally mine. That's how everything began. A thick certified envelope showed up, stuffed with paperwork and attitude, accusing me of using their so-called private road for unauthorized commercial purposes. Their road, the same strip of gravel my grandfather personally laid down back in 1962. According to the complaint, I was damaging shared infrastructure, breaking HOA bylaws, and interfering with access rights. The problem is, I don't live in their subdivision. I never agreed to their rules. But that didn't slow them down. At their next board meeting, the president stood confidently in front of Clubhouse, calmly telling 84 homeowners she was protecting their property values from a non-compliant neighbor. She even smiled when she said my name. What she didn't realize, what none of them realized, was that the only legal entrance to their entire neighborhood sat squarely on my deed, and that was her biggest mistake. I'm a third-generation landowner. My family has held on to these 2,500 acres for more than 70 years. We've run cattle, harvested timber, and maintained long stretches of fencing that don't care about trends or property values, only weather and time. My grandfather bought the original land in 1956. My father expanded it piece by piece. I grew up fixing barbed wire, clearing brush, and learning boundaries by walking them, not by reading them in brochures. We paid every tax bill. We maintained every culvert. We graded the gravel road along the southern edge of the property, the same road they were now claiming as their own. That road existed decades before anyone ever imagined a subdivision with matching mailboxes and seasonal wreath rules. I keep to myself. I don't bother neighbors. I don't attend meetings. I don't tell anyone what color to paint their shutters. My father always said, if it's written, it matters. Titles, surveys, deeds. Paper lasts longer than opinions. For 70 years, that principle was enough. Then the developers showed up. The subdivision went up almost overnight. One year, it was open pasture along my southern fence. The next, it was stone entry signs, decorative lighting, and a billboard promising luxury, living with exclusive private access. That exclusive access road was my gravel strip, 60 feet wide, stretching exactly 1,200 feet from the county highway to what became their gated entrance. It was always part of my deed. Never sold, never transferred, never tied to any easement. At first, I ignored it. New neighbors waved as they drove by. I nodded back. No issues. Then the signs went up. Willow Creek Private Road. A week later, I received a letter from the HOA, a notice saying I share responsibility for maintaining their infrastructure. According to them, I was benefiting from their improvements and owed a portion of the costs. What they didn't realize was I had already checked the county records. Every filing, every document. There was no transfer. 2 weeks later, the first fine showed up, $300 for heavy equipment usage. Apparently, my tractor, the same one I'd been driving across that gravel for 2 decades, was now considered commercial damage to their road. Then came another notice, damage to the surface. Then another, failure to comply with neighborhood standards. I don't live in their neighborhood. I responded once. Calmly, I attached a copy of my deed and the original survey. No emotion, no commentary, just facts. That's when they escalated. A letter from their attorney arrived, claiming prescriptive easement rights based on continuous use. They even hinted at placing a lien if I didn't agree to share maintenance costs. Meanwhile, at their monthly meeting, the board president described me as an uncooperative adjacent landowner, refusing reasonable compromise, as if I were the problem. Then they filed a lawsuit, officially claiming ownership of the road. That's when everything changed. The night I received their attorney's letter, I didn't argue. I went straight to my study, opened the filing cabinet, and pulled out the original 1958 deed. The paper was yellowed, but the county seal was still clear. Then I placed the most recent certified survey beside it. Line by line, parcel by parcel, both documents said the same thing. No recorded easement, no right-of-way transfer, no shared maintenance agreement. That 60-foot stretch from the highway to their entrance? Fee simple ownership. Mine. Free and clear. I reviewed the subdivision plat they filed when Willow Creek was approved. Buried in the notes was a single line: access pending recorded easement. Pending. It was never completed, never recorded, never executed. They built 84 homes, assuming the paperwork would eventually catch up. What she didn't understand was that without that strip of land, their entire subdivision had no legal access to a public road. No access meant no deliveries, no emergency services, no resale value. I wasn't angry. I was certain. Instead of reacting, I started preparing. No angry emails. No arguments at the mailbox. I contacted a property attorney 2 counties over, the kind who studies plats like a hobby. We met quietly. I brought everything: the deed, the survey, the subdivision filing. He read through all twice, then leaned back and said, "They built an entire subdivision assuming access." I ordered a new boundary survey. Steel markers in the ground, GPS verified, no room for doubt. I documented every letter they sent, every fine, every accusation, dates, times, certified receipts. And I stopped being accommodating. For years, I had allowed neighbors to pass freely. No gates, no friction. That changed. Access continued for the moment, but only because I hadn't decided otherwise. My attorney laid out the options clearly. I could gate the road. I could require a properly recorded easement at full market value. I could deny access completely until they withdrew the lawsuit. All legal, all enforceable. The HOA got louder. More letters, more threats. But I wasn't interested in revenge. I was interested in leverage. Eventually, they scheduled a public board meeting to update the neighborhood on the lawsuit. The clubhouse was packed. Folding chairs lined the walls. 84 homeowners, restless, waiting to be reassured. The board president stood at the front, composed as ever. She talked about protecting community assets and defending shared infrastructure. She described me as a difficult neighbor exploiting a technicality. Promised everything would be resolved quickly and cleanly. There was polite applause. Then I stood up. No raised voice. No anger. Just a folder in my hand. "I'd like to clarify something," I said as I walked forward. I handed copies to the board first, then to a few homeowners in the front row. Recorded deed, county plat, certified survey, and a written legal opinion from my attorney. "The road you're suing me over is legally mine," I said evenly, "and without a recorded easement. None of you have legal access to a public highway." Silence settled over the room. You could feel the shift. Their attorney began flipping through the documents, slower with each page. He asked for the plat reference number, checked it online, then checked again. Finally, he cleared his throat. "There is no recorded easement." The murmurs started immediately, then whispers. Phones came out. Eyes turned toward the board. That's when the panic set in, and that's when she tried to pivot. The meeting unraveled into controlled chaos. The board called for a short executive session. 20 minutes later, they invited me into a side room. The tone was completely different. No accusations, no speeches. They wanted a solution. I gave them 3 options. First, a retroactive, permanently recorded easement purchased at full market value for commercial-grade access. Second, an annual access and maintenance fee adjusted with inflation. Third, withdrawal of the lawsuit and full reimbursement of my legal expenses. Otherwise, I would install a gate within 30 days. No threats, just a timeline. Within weeks, the homeowners held an emergency vote. The board president was removed. The HOA's insurance refused coverage, citing administrative negligence. They settled for 6 figures to secure the easement. Every dollar of my legal fees was reimbursed. She tried to fine me $300. It cost them over $100,000. And that was just the beginning. The new board finalized the easement properly. Clean, legal, paid for. I put a formal access agreement in place and marked the boundaries clearly. No confusion. No assumptions. Now, things are quiet. Civil, the way neighbors should be. I never wanted control over their subdivision. I just wanted control over what was mine. They thought authority came from a title on a board. It doesn't. It comes from documentation, from knowing exactly what you own and proving it when it counts. There's a difference between living next to land and actually owning it. If you've ever dealt with an HOA that forgot that line, share your experience. And if you like stories where preparation beats ego, make sure to stick around, because before you challenge someone's property, you better know exactly what's written on their deed.